What's up, everybody? My name is Gilbert Church. I'm a high school strength and conditioning coach. I'm a PE teacher in Harlem. And today, we are going to be talking about the holiest of subjects. How to form habits. Now, for the past 4, maybe 5 months, I've been dropping knowledge bombs about fitness, health, wellness, sleep, how to build muscle, how to lose weight, counting calories. Really great information overall, in my opinion, But at the end of the day, you actually have to do these things to make sure that they actually benefit you, which takes some action on your part. And at the end of the day, starting new things is hard, but doing things that you've already done repeatedly is easy. So how do we start something new, and how do we turn it into something that we repeatedly do? How do we make it so our routine takes health and wellness and makes it normal? How do we make it so it's automatic? How do we form habits that benefit us on a daily basis? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we give you some just pure actionable things that you should do to form habits, what I'm going to do is take a little deep dive into how your brain works. I'm not a brilliant biochemist or anything like that, but I think it's important to understand the biology behind actual habit formation, and then I will give you some actionable things that you can use to work with in order to form some awesome habits that will benefit you for the rest of your life. So let's get to work. All right, folks, hang on to your hats. We are about to do some science. As you can see with my drawings right here, I have drawn a neuron. They've got an axon. This is a different neuron with a little bit of a different axon. I'm going to explain the difference between these and how they relate to forming habit. Now, if you don't know, neurons are cells in your body that fire commands that make you do things. So, for example, hi-ya! Right? I just kicked. What happened right there in that moment is a bunch of neurons in my brain fired a command down my central nervous system. That command takes the form of an electrical signal. So my neurons fired an electrical signal, traveled down my spine to my leg, and signaled for me to kick. Hi-ya! Just happened again, right? That is a neuron in action firing signals throughout your body. They essentially control everything that you do. Positive thoughts come from neurons. Actions come from neurons. Every time I move my hand like this or like that, neurons. While I'm speaking, forming language, neurons are firing electrical signals and directing my body to do things. They are incredible, and they are the command system of our body. Now, how do they send these signals throughout the body? All neurons have axons. So if you check out this little line I got going on here, this is how they connect to other neurons in the body. So a neuron has this long sort of tail, and it connects to another neuron down here, and then that neuron has a tail that'll connect to another neuron down there, and so on and so forth, and that's how it creates systems throughout your body to fire signals. Now, this is a neuron with an axon without this little swirly stuff on it. So let's talk about this little swirly stuff, right? This swirly stuff is called myelin. It is absolutely key to forming habits and making routines and making things automatic. So myelin is this white fatty substance that gets wrapped around axons that are continuously used on a regular basis. So, for example, let's say I'm a basketball player and I consistently practice my foul shot. I dribble 3 times, 1, 2, 3. I bend my knees, I take the shot, I practice my follow through, hopefully I make the bucket. And I practice this thousands and thousands of times to make it automatic. That process or that movement eventually gets a lot of myelination, right? That's the process of adding myelin along the axons that are being fired along, because remember, neurons are sending electrical signals throughout the axon so you can do a particular movement. And because you're doing a particular movement over and over and over again, myelin starts forming along those axons. Now, what does myelin do? Myelin makes the electrical signal fire faster, smoother, and way more efficiently. It is the reason that we practice. It is a biological reason for practice, which is mind-blowing and totally applicable on so many levels. So for example, if it's the first time you've ever taken a foul shot, you're wobbly, you don't know exactly what you're doing, you're shooting off, you don't know exactly how to do it, and there's a lot of thought with it. You're consciously trying to think, okay, I have to raise my elbow up, I have to try and follow through, I have to do all these things, and it becomes this process that you are thinking about, and it's slow, and it's not automatic. Whereas someone who's taken 1,000, 2,000, 500,000 foul shots, you think about the typical NBA player and how much they must practice that shot. It's automatic. There's no thought behind it. 1, 2, 3, dribble, line up the shot, bend my knees, follow through, I flick my wrist, and everything is automatic and they don't even have to think about it. That is the process of myelin. It's the difference between people who have practiced something and people who have not practiced something. You can even think of Kobe Bryant and his fadeaway shot. He shoves up against someone, he backs off, he turns away, jumps, fades away, boom, makes the shot because he's practiced it so many times. So what's happening there is the formation of myelin and the formation of habit. And this is incredible stuff because it is literally applicable to everything that we do. You wake up in the morning. What's the first thing that you do? You go to the bathroom, maybe you take the scale out and you take your weight. If you do that enough, it becomes a habit. It becomes something you don't even think about. When you take your food out of the refrigerator and you take a food scale off the scale and you measure the food before you actually decide to cook it or eat it, if you take the scale off the shelf and do that enough, it just becomes a habit. It becomes something you do. If at every single day at 4:30 you go to the gym because you're just so used to going to the gym, guess what? You formed a bunch of myelin, a bunch of axons connected to neurons saying, hey, it's time to go to the gym. It's part of our routine. It's that time of the day. We're firing that signal. It becomes routine. So the practice of things, whether it's habits, routines, the way you think, yes, you can even myelinate axons that lead to positive thinking as opposed to negative thinking, is totally key to, enjoying this life. And also keep in mind that it has the dark side of it, which is if you consistently practice negative thoughts get myelinated. If you consistently practice going to bed at 3 a.m. in the morning, guess what? You get used to going to 3 a.m. in the morning. You don't get tired until that time. If you consistently practice a foul shot, but your elbow's over here when you push it or you shove it from under your chin, you're gonna consistently shoot the basketball that way. There are so many applications to what myelin does and how we practice things, but the important thing to know is things that are practiced a lot get repeated a lot, and they become faster and more efficient and smoother signals that become automatic. So we want to do whatever we can to make signals that we want automatic and signals that we don't want not automatic. This is the formation of habit, and we want to emphasize good habits over poor habits. Boom, myelin, neurons, axons. Let's talk about some practical application for how to form these. All right, welcome to the practical side of trying to make a habit or forming myelin, because I want you to start thinking about those two phrases as completely interchangeable. Habit is myelin and myelin is habit. If I form the right habits, I'm forming the right myelin around the right axons. Here's the deal. There's no magic bullet for this. You can't just go to the doctor and say, hey, can you wrap my axons with this myelin because I really want this to just be a subroutine so I eat healthy all the time. We're not there yet in science. We just don't have it. But what you can do is start with some motivation. So I'll start with this one right here. Know your why. Every habit starts with some kind of motivation or some kind of idea as to where you want to go. You have a goal in mind, you know you want to get there, and that becomes your reason for trying to create a habit. Because again, habits are hard. When you don't have the habit in place, it's difficult to form it, right? You're thinking about it, you don't have that automatic process behind it, it's not easy to do. But if you do it repeatedly, again, we form that myelin, it becomes routine, it becomes easier to do. So know your why to get started. Have a goal in mind. Figure out what needs to be done in order to get to there. And that'll help you start with your goal, right? Repeat your why daily. Why do you want to work out? I know I want to lose this amount of weight. I know I want to look this certain way. I know that this is something that I feel will improve my life, possibly, or it could be something else, right? And then here is possibly the biggest one, and I think this is probably the best advice I can give you. Whatever your goal is, I want to be better at shooting foul shots from the foul line. I want to be better at choosing healthy foods. Commit to it for 30 days. Every single day for 30 days in a row, whatever the goal is, whatever the practice is, whatever habit you're trying to form, you have to do it every single day for 30 days, no excuses. This will jumpstart the formation of myelin. This will jumpstart your ability to create a routine and create a habit. If you're saying, I'm going to eat healthy or I'm going to try and start eating healthier, I challenge you, commit to 30 days of perfection. Put a hard 30-day challenge to yourself, and then at the end of those 30 days, you'll start to realize that you probably won't even want to break that habit that you've created at that point. Or it'll be way easier to continue once you've completed your 30 days. Commit to it. Go hard, and then once it's there, enjoy the myelin that you've created that'll help you along your journey. Next bit, measure your results. If you don't know where you started, then you don't know where you're going and you don't know where you're going to end. You need to be able to measure this in an understandable way. Whatever the goal is, have some measurements for what you're doing. Again, going back to that foul line shot. Maybe you do a test, 1 out of 10. If you sink 4 out of 10 on your first go around and then you practice for 30 days and then you repeat that test and you sink 7 out of 10, guess what? Boom, you've just created your own motivation just by having the measurement of showing you, oh wow, this routine of practice every single day helps me get to my goal. If you are deciding to eat healthier or deciding to exercise and you take a before and after photo, so you take a photo in the mirror and then you go through your routine, you do it for 30 days, maybe 60 days, whatever it is, you've committed to it for that certain amount of time, and then you take a picture afterwards and you compare those two pictures. Hopefully you see some difference between those. And again, you've created motivation and you've created a reason to continue doing that habit. And again, the more you do something, the easier it is. I can tell you from experience, working out about 5 to 6 days a week for about the past decade, at this point, it's harder for me to miss a day than it is for me to go to the gym. It's just ingrained in me right now. And that, again, is that biological process of myelin. Now, the last one is kind of fun, and I've never really done it before, but I heard a great story behind it, and I think it's something to consider, which is build in rewards for yourself. So the story I heard about this was some woman was trying to quit smoking. And what she would do is she was just getting into her fitness journey. She was just joining a CrossFit gym, and there's all these expensive Lululemon clothes. So what she would do is every time she had a serious craving for some cigarettes, right? She wanted to buy a pack, she wanted to smoke them. She would go to the store, and then instead of buying them, she would take the money that the cigarette pack would cost and she would pocket it, and she would put it in a piggy bank. Right? I don't know how much cigarettes cost, maybe 10, 15 bucks, whatever it is. And she would take that money, she'd put it in a piggy bank. And every time she'd have that craving where she seriously wanted one, she would take the money, boom, take it out of her wallet, stick it in a piggy bank. And then by the end of the month, she would look at all the money she had instead of buying the cigarettes, and then she would take that money and she would buy some really expensive Lululemon clothes or whatever the heck she wanted, because that was money that she could suddenly use instead of spending it on cigarettes. It was a reward she built into herself, and because the human body always responds to some kind of external reward, it was an effective way to help her quit smoking. I don't know what systems you would want to build for yourself. I find the measuring of results is enough reward for me, but if you want to create an external reward for yourself, have at it. Go for it. I think it's a great idea. And again, if it helps you form the right kind of myelin for the right kind of habit, it's something that you should try and support yourself in. Boom. That's my spiel on habit. That's my spiel on myelin. If you made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, please drop a like. Please drop a subscription. If you comment, I guarantee you I will comment back. And until next time,